Now here's what happens. The biggest Marine in the place, I don't know where they got this guy, but he's a big old boy. He gets up at 8:30 and this Clyde comes up. And he welcomes us all there. Now we've all checked in. They know we're here. And so he says, first of all, before we begin, everyone hoist their mug as I read a list of names you've provided me of all of your fellow comrades that did not make it, that passed in combat. And we stand there and hold our mugs. Now, we hold them for a good 20 minutes while a list of names are read of our fallen comrades. Then precisely at 9 o'clock, the TVs begin to flicker and a feed comes in through satellite, and it's the Commandant himself. And the Commandant of the Marine Corps says, "Good evening, men and women. Happy birthday, Marines." The place goes nuts. A lot of hoo-yah. Okay. And the Commandant himself gives us a little talk, shows a little video of the pride of the Marine Corps. Now, once that video's played, this big Marine introduces another name. He comes forward. He's the senior Marine in the place, not usually by age, but as far as the time in service. They introduce the senior Marine. He walks to the front of the room. The room is quiet. He turns and faces everyone else. It's relatively solemn. We all salute him. Then they read another name. The other name is the youngest Marine in the room, usually just a teenager. We let him drink. That young Marine comes up, faces the senior Marine, stands and salutes him. And then the young Marine is handed the Mameluke sword. That's it right there, the white pearl handle of that sword. It's carried by the Marine Corps officers. He takes that and ceremoniously, Bill cuts a piece of cake, the first one, puts it on a plate. The junior Marine walks to the senior Marine and serves him ceremoniously. He steps back, salutes again. At that point, we know we can all eat cake. And we do. 235 years of tradition. The Marine Corps, the spear, the tip of the spear, the first to fight, Semper Fidelis, forever faithful. You see, the very first amphibious landing was a small force that landed on the beach of Massachusetts in defense of Concord, where our war started, our War of Independence started. This is an old force with old tradition that starts even before the United States itself. There were a group of men who enlisted in this Marine Corps that was a smaller group of people that were already knew that we would be first to fight. Wow. At 18 years old, I was an accomplished underachiever. An accomplished underachiever. I want to tell you that I'm going to show you a photograph. Next, there it is. Look at that pencil neck geek. Can you believe that? 18 years old, I just got out of high school, an underachiever. I was in the half of my graduating class that made the upper half look good. I had terrible grades. I was a mediocre athlete. I was shy, frightened to death of girls. I really had never applied myself. I had a strong father. I had a strong father that loved me dearly and taught me things, but my golly, I just hadn't applied myself yet. And so I thought, well, I've got an idea. I graduate from high school, and that little pencil neck geek goes down to Los Angeles and enrolls in Pepperdine University. Now, I get to Pepperdine, I go through my freshman year of college, and I kept up my streak. My streak was mediocrity. I had a .7 GPA. There's an end to this story. It's a happy ending. But my first year, because I got in a fraternity, I had a heck of a good time. But I didn't apply myself, and so here I am again, underachieving. It was a miserable summer. My father made my life miserable. He was paying for my college. And he says, you can do better. I said, oh, no, I'm trying. But see, this young kid hadn't applied himself yet, hadn't found himself. So I'm standing in line in September to enroll in my sophomore year at Pepperdine. I'm standing there like some nitwit with a .7 GPA. And you know, I'm standing there and I just didn't want to be there, Ed. I'm sitting there. Have you ever been in a place like that where you're about to do something and you're going, oh, yeah. And so I'm standing there and I asked the people in front and back of me, would you save my place in line? I got to do something. So I leave. They may still be holding my place. And I get in my 53 Pontiac and I drive down Manchester Boulevard because I'd seen it before and pulled into the United States Marine Corps recruiting station. Just drove in there. And you know, those boys work on quota. So I made this guy's day when I walked in and said, I'd like to sign up. He says, what? Sign me up. I want to be a Marine. He said, sit down, son. But you know, in that chat, he did talk to me. He said, do you know what you're doing? Do you know that this is the United States Marine Corps? There are easier things you could do. This is a very, very tough deal you're signing up for. Do you really want to do that? I said, yes, I do. I want to be a part of this. I signed up for the Marine Corps that day. 1 week later, we're on a bus. I'm looking around at these other nitwits on this bus. And we were a ragtag group of teenagers, AJ, that was just a mess. All of us underachievers, it seemed to me. And we get off the bus at MCRD, the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego. All of us, I guess, suspecting we're going to do something tough, but we didn't quite believe it was going to start out the way it started. We were sitting there like we're going to summer camp, and all of a sudden, this guy gets us off the bus. He's trying to get us in a pile. We're up there like, what the hell's wrong with you? You had a bad day. They're starting to call me names I've never thought of. Whoa. And I knew at that moment, my life as I had known it was over. It was over. And Marine Corps boot camp started. And I'm going to tell you something. The first week, something happened that I will never forget, and let me share it with you. In fact, Rob, I've never told you this story. They had us in an organized group. Sergeant Cockrell comes out. He's telling us what we're in for and how hard this is going to be. And he says to all of us, there was 86 of us, he says, gentlemen, at the end of this 13-week boot camp, 6 of you will be promoted meritoriously. That's because you will be the best 6 Marines in this platoon. 86 will start. Not all of you will finish, but there will be 6 of you leading the platoon at graduation. I'm standing in this group someplace back in the middle. Well, mediocre guys stand.